Hello, this is me, Atif Khan. Welcome in ST Podcast. Nowadays, the most discussed topic is Trump's tariff. To discuss this topic, we have our prominent guest who has expertise in this topic. Welcome, Mr. Ali Mujahid, and thanks for coming.
Thank you, Atif, for having me over here.
Now, my first question is, what is actually this tariff means for a common public, and what is the effect of this for third world countries?
Thank you, Atif, for the question. Tariff, in simple words, if I explain it in simple words, this is basically a surplus on the extra amount of charges which a country basically impose on the imports of other countries. Like, for example, if a company is importing some goods from other countries, like, for example, US is importing, a US company is importing something from China. So US government will impose an extra amount of money on that commodity. So basically that is tariff. And as you talk about how it will affect the common man and how it will affect the third world countries, so definitely it will, because the price will be higher, and uh, it will also result in the higher inflation rate as well. So definitely that has an effect on the common man and the third world countries as well.
Now, tell me why United States imposed these taxes on different countries, especially China, European Union, Australia, and many countries across the globe. What is the major factor behind this?
Thank you, Atif. This is a very important question. That why Trump is basically imposing these tariffs.
Yes.
So before taking the charge of the office of the President of the United States, during his election campaign, he came with the slogan of "I will make America great again." And at the day he was imposing these tariffs at the garden of the White House, he said that he's going to make America wealthy again. So it means that it is a part of his strategy, his larger strategy to impose these tariffs. And the logic behind this is that he wants to
Yes.
pressurize the companies to come to the
Okay.
US and make those products. This is basically
Okay.
the logic behind. And also he wants to create some job opportunities. He's of the view that if these companies came to United States, so it is going to create more opportunities, and that is somewhat true. But let me share here some of the views of the other analysts, and as of I'm of the view that it is going to create some difficulties for the United States, because it will increase the price of the commodity, because the common man have to buy it with a more larger amount as it was before the imposition of the tariffs. So yeah, it has a, you may say that this kind of uncertainty
Yes.
right now in the market, and one cannot basically rightly predict what is going to happen. But definitely, uh, as experts, and I'm of the view that it is going to create an impact on the common man and the economy of the United States. But let's see and watch what happens in the next few days.
Now let's discuss the market. What is the effect of these tariffs imposed by United States on different countries and the retaliation tariffs imposed in United States on the market? Is there any panic in the market or traders are feeling calm?
Yeah, exactly. Why not? Because if you are increasing the price of the commodities and you're imposing extra tariffs, so that has effect on the market, because the price of the commodities will be high, and it will also create, as you said, it is going to create a panic. Yes, it will create a panic in the market, because the investors are uncertain about what is going to happen next. So this uncertainty basically creates panic in the market, and
Okay.
investors are now hopeful that the market could get stable, and they are looking forward for some good news. But so far there is no such announcement. But later on, it is in the news that Trump might announce something later on.
Now I had a very technical question for you. When United States imposed taxes on different countries, we saw a major drop in Australian dollar up to 20%. But instead of dropping Chinese yuan, the stock market of China is rising.
Um, this is a very important question, I will say.
A catchy
Uh,
question.
yeah, I will say, because uh, the big fishes always eat the small fishes.
Okay.
It's always said.
I heard something.
Yeah. So basically, it's that kind of phenomena is basically
Yes.
happening in the market. These big fishes like US and China, they're imposing tariff on each other. So they don't have any effect of it on their own economies. It it have that impact, but not as it has impact on other countries. So their markets are rising. The US stock index is rising. The Chinese exchange is rising. But other, as you mentioned, that Australian dollar is declining, and other EU markets are very hit hard by these tariffs. So yeah, that is very rightly said that Australian dollar is rising, but others are
Yes.
increasing. So that is that phenomena that the big fishes always eat the small fishes. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. According to recent development today, maybe breaking news for our viewers, President Trump pulled back his tariffs except China, or maybe drop down up to 10% for 90 days. What do you think? What is the major factor behind this? Why United States drop back?
Yeah, that is breaking news. I just heard about this, so I would like to share your
What do you think?
opinion.
Yeah, your
Yeah, but I think so. It is. I would say it is a wider strategy of Trump. He wants to basically send a message to the China, maybe that we are in such a position that we can control the economy.
But sorry to interrupting you. Don't you think that maybe United States feel pressurized from counter tariff coming from different countries across the globe, especially European Union, Canada, Mexico, and other big economies?
No, I don't think so. As far Trump's policy is concerned, he's very clear with this policy that he's going to impose tariffs. But the fact is that uh, the major purpose of these tariffs were to bring the countries to the table with the United States. I and I think that Trump is quite
Yes.
successful in that because these tariffs were imposed. Most of the countries they contacted the U.S. capital, Washington D.C., that we're going to want to negotiate on these tariffs. So I think it is kind of a victory for the United States Trump administration that it forced the people to come to the table, and that is what Trump does. That he give this relaxation to only those um, who were ready to negotiate on these tariffs, except China, because he said that China is very shown disrespect towards us and so on. So that is why he's very much harder towards China and soft towards those
Yes.
who is going to negotiate. So I think it is a major victory for the Trump administration that he forced and he is much successful in what he wants to bring the countries to the table to talk to the United States. So yeah, that is very major development, and let's see what happens. Like he now imposed about 125% tariff on
Yes.
China, and the response the Chinese authorities have, the Chinese Commerce Ministry said that they're going to impose a 80% plus tariff on the America. So now it is clear that the trade war is not between China and the US. So let's see what happens next in
Yeah,
a few days.
sorry to interrupt you, but according to some economic beat journalists and analysts, they suggest that this is the time maybe the big economies like China, Canada, and any other economy can take a bold step from shifting the world economy from dollar to any other currency. Do you think that is there any chance or possibility?
Yeah, it is a chance. And the BRICS countries basically they are working on
Yes.
this. That they're going to convert or really replace the dollar with some other currency. Like they want to come with a common currency. But as far as these development concerns, I
Yes.
don't see any change because
Okay.
because when they announced as such, Trump directly gave the signal of imposing tariffs, and that hits those countries. Like for example, in BRICS we have Brazil and India. When U.S. President Trump announced that he's going to impose tariffs,
Yes.
so those countries were reluctant to those policy of coming up with a common currency. So I don't see any chances of these in upcoming years. But discussions are underway. Let's see what
Okay.
happens. But
You
as far
may you mean the plan is on the paper?
yeah, the plan is on the paper, but I don't see any such policy coming up in the next few months or may say years, because they are all dependent
Okay.
on the support and the assistance from the United States. So let's see
Okay,
what
Miss
this.
Raleigh, my last question is, what will be the future of this tariff after 90 days? Does they will exist like same? And what is the maximum effect of these tariffs on a common public across the world, especially third world countries?
As I earlier mentioned, that it definitely will have effect on certain countries and the economy because of increasing prices and inflation rate and the other rising the commodities in international market. Um, and as you talk about
Yes.
what is going to be the future, so mm, Trump administration from the very first day is very uncertain. Nobody can predict what is going to happen next, because when you wake up early in the morning, Trump administration or Trump signed another executive order, and it's creating uncertainty in market day and day. So I'm very uncertain about what is going to happen next in the few days. But I think so that the countries which are going to negotiate, they might be successful in coming up with a solution, except China. And recently, I've just heard the Trump talk to the press. He said that Xi Jinping is my good friend, and we would like to talk on these tariffs. So might be there is a chance that he also could talk to the Chinese counterpart on these tariffs issue, and later on, I don't think that this will go for from 90 days. This country is going to make some agreements or arrangements with the United States, but there is a fact that United States will have um, they will like have their own uh, way on their own say in these negotiations. So that is a very technical point to understand, because these are those are the countries that have
Yes.
been basically telling the United
Okay.
States to negotiate. So the final say will be of the U.S. and let's assure that the other countries will also have to abide by those, because there is no other way. Because as we all know, U.S. if no one wants to admit this, but it is a reality that U.S. is still a major superpower. So yeah, countries have to
Okay,
abide
Mr.
by
Ali, and I also agree with you. Thanks for your valuable insights. It will help our listeners and viewers to understand it's a very complicated topic, and it will help our listeners to understand this topic. And
yeah.
thanks for your coming and sharing your valuable insights.
Thank you.
Thanks,
It's
Mr. Ali.
my pleasure.
That's all in today's topic. Catch us in our next podcast.